like Kristen now has been doing, like, I didn't get a notification. And a couple of people have mentioned it in the chat too that hop in later. They're like, what the fuck? No notification.
I think that's really dependent on how the notification works on your particular machine. Because there'll be times when I'll be sitting here and knowing you're going live and not get the notification.
Right.
So it could be dependent on what windows you have open or don't have open. It could, sometimes you just got to look down. It's really fucking weird sometimes.
Yeah, ever since Facebook started fucking with their algorithms and everything's all jacked up. But we are live.
We are live.
Yeah, I can smell that sanitizer.
I know, right? It's glorious. We're up by State College, and Kate, she's walking us around different buildings, and she's like, oh, yeah, there's the white building, which wasn't white. And it's not named after.
Is that where all the white people hang out?
I guess. Well, it's like a gym complex that's got a pool in it that nobody goes to because there's like a bunch of different complexes. I mean, Penn State campus is huge. Like if you go up there, you go up to State College, like it isn't, I don't know what to equate it to around here, but you think that there are like 40,000 underclassmen at Penn State. Damn. Underclassmen. Like that's not, it's, so how big the campus would have to be, you can think about that.
That's a lot of people.
But the difference is like you could walk, like we walked pretty much the entirety of it.
Yeah.
And it's a hike, but it's not like insurmountable. Whereas like Jeff at Rutgers, New Brunswick, you had to take buses everywhere between campuses. Shit. Like the College of Communications and the College of Business, and like all their different things were like physically separated colleges. So like It was like showing up at a slightly larger community college for each thing, but the entirety of the thing was Rutgers, New Brunswick.
Would he have classes like in the same day on different campuses?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
So what do they have, like shuttles that go between?
Well, you have the buses. Like you had to really be able to work the bus schedule to your advantage. And I don't think they scheduled them so close together that you wouldn't be able to get between the classes, but...
Right. Was that the live notification? I don't see any chat or anything yet.
Nope.
So.
No, that was just the breaking news. New Jersey reports 13,386 coronavirus, 61 deaths. 161 deaths, excuse me.
The scary shit is when you see these fucking, 40-year-olds dying of it. It's like he was fine one day, and then, 2 days later, he's in the hospital. Another day later, he's dead.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
These machines, these mech suits that are fucking the fat rides and drives is not it needs to breathe. It needs to convert oxygen into fucking carbon dioxide in order to function.
Yeah. You may have to pull it up manually if you're not getting any notification.
Yeah. YouTube, tout tube? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a completely different site.
One of those ones you don't want to click when anybody else is around.
Right. The very not safe for work site. I was listening to John Williams on the way in.
No, you?
Shocking.
I know.
And it was the last battle from it's basically like the entirety of the sequence when the rebellions come in and blow up the S1.
Oh, okay.
So it's like all the musical interlude for that. God, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And I can only the more I listen to it, the more I realize that what a good movie Star Wars was just by itself.
Yeah.
Like it was a complete package in and of itself, and it would have went down as one of the greatest movies, even without everything else. The entirety of what we have now.
Yeah.
It still would have went down as one of the all-time best.
I mean, shit, it was nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards that year.
Yeah.
So.
As it should have been.
Yeah.
Everything with this little laptop is slower. I'm actually gonna bring it home with me and clean it up.
Yeah.
I'll probably take it down and just reset the entire system.
Maybe take off some plates, kind of wipe down the inside.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it gets a little bogged down with a bunch of Corona in it.
Oh my god, I'm gonna see while you're doing that. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the video from last week. Like the expression on my face is fucking priceless. This is our thing. So your channel. Okay, we're live right now, but Rise novelization 250. God damn, we went for a long time last week.
Yeah.
That's what she said. Oh, we got people in the chat. Dave just brought it up. Sorry, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
My computer has the coronavirus.
So you're fucking with your phone. No, you open up the book here in a second. This is us reacting to our video from last week.
Yeah.
So. All right, that's right. You take a drink of your beer, you put it down, you pick up your book.
Sure, this is riveting.
Yeah.
So they can't see what we're seeing.
Last week's video, 2 hour and 50-minute mark. And unfurls the poster. And
oh!
the look on my face. Now watch the look on my face. All right, unfurls the poster. There goes.
He's looking.
Beer.
He's looking. Oh! I like Jason's reaction was way more intense than mine was. I was just like, and for what it's worth, it wasn't necessarily me knocking it over. It was the book. It was like on the book.
Right.
So
it wasn't like you were like drunkenly just like.
Yeah. Hello. Why can't I see anything?
How do we sound, by the way?
I can't see anything in our drive. Why is that?
And like, have you been watching the progress that they've been making on Sandcrawler Studios?
Oh man,
it's fucking impressive.
Impressive. Most impressive.
Yeah, man. Selsky apparently like knows what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
What is that?
That's the dude.
Why? He LOL'd after that?
Yeah, I don't know. But I don't care. Oh, man. So we got Scott. We got Lunar Girl. We got, who I'm assuming is Solsky. We got Big Swede. We got Tevin. Tevin, you guys surviving out there?
What the fuck? This isn't 1700. Yes. Jason's fault.
Yeah, I take the blame for this one. It's scheduling conflicts, things with the kids. So we had to do this early.
Why can I not, like... This is a little frustrating.
What are you trying to do?
I can't see in the drive. Like, it's not showing me. It's saying a drive is empty, which I know is...
Our Google Drive?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
No, I'm sure it's there. It's just whatever...
Well, you got me all fucked up now. All right, there it is. Let me refresh. All right, I still got everything.
Yeah, I think it's just this machine. Told you, the machine's got the coronavirus, man.
Yeah. Literally.
You pour Corona into a laptop, bad things happen.
Mm-hmm. So this is my notes for 2 episodes.
Yeah. I won't even... the length of my notes is... It's not even worth looking at, honestly.
You did get to watch it, though?
I did. I watched both episodes.
All right. I'm sorry.
Can't hang. Friend ran out of propane. Propane.
I knew it.
You need to get that man some propane, especially after he broke both elbows, his knee, sprained his wrist, and got a concussion. I don't understand how running out of propane breaks your wrists and your knees and whatnot.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless you've got really brittle bones and you have some sort of propane powered device to keep your bones together.
Propane powered mechanical bodysuit, maybe.
Yes.
That would be fantastic. I would love everything there would be about that. I'm not usually into that animatronic machinations of things, but I'll tell you what, I'll definitely ride myself a propane powered mechanical body. How you doing?
And we got Supergirl 3000 in the chat. Thank you for the sound check.
Oh, finally got out some documents. All right, so hang on. 44. Why is 143 not? It's out of order. God, why is it out of order? Oh my God. So annoying. Again, front round of propane. And he broke both elbows, his knee, sprained his wrist, and got a concussion. That would be a hell of a YouTube video. Like the sequence of events that would cause that. Remember, you were still in the unit. The videos with the Canadian guys that had the lawnmower engine powered like fucking carts.
Oh yeah.
When a guy would like hip hip, and he'd fucking and they go flying this cart over like stacks of fucking refrigerators and shit.
Yeah, what could go wrong?
Yeah. Oh my God, so fucking hilarious. Oh, he's a cable tech that fell off a ladder. There you go. See, everything in context.
Yep.
Falling off a ladder, thankfully, all he did was do those things and not, like, snap his hip or some shit like that.
Indeed.
Because, honestly, every time I'm on a fucking ladder, that's all I'm thinking about is what's going to happen to me when I fall off of this thing.
Speaking of breaking hips, why is it that a broken hip kills old people? I never understood that.
Infections kill old people.
Okay. But you always hear these stories about an old person falls, breaks their hip, and then they're dead. It's like, how did breaking their hip kill them?
You're being serious right now?
Yeah.
Like when you fall and break your hip, now you limit your mobilization. So hips, there's not a lot. There's not a lot of. You got major arteries running through there, but there's there's blood flow issues, and then you have to be able to isolate it to be able to prevent infections.
Okay, and that makes sense, but it's just
and some people they just don't. Fucking, there's a fruit fly in here because some jackwagon fucking spilled Corona all over the place. Eek. Do we still have those wipes? Shit, I should have brought some wipes with me.
No.
That's what we need. We need a couple of Lysol wipes. Otherwise, you want ants? This is how you get ants.
Right. Maybe if Supergirl 3000 is still in the chat.
Oh, why? Why? What is happening?
Maybe some Lysol wipes will materialize.
Lysol wipes will do fine.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will. Yeah, I'll definitely. I'm gonna take this machine home and do my best to clean it up. Both old people don't hear as quickly as much as the rest of it do. Yeah, really, what it comes down to is, say you break your hip, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we go in there and you're older, you already have like a lack of let's just say your lungs don't work that great.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, okay, you go in there, you get put under, which every time you get put under, it's a shock to the system, right? So you're getting put under, you're having like major movements happening. They're going in with saws and shit like that. It's trauma.
Yeah.
So that trauma, now your body's trying to heal. Your immune system is now compromised.
Wow.
Because anytime you go into the surgery like that,
it's a miracle.
Thank you.
It's like a gift from God.
Yes, it is indeed, Jason, and much better than your usual banter about when your wife does something for you. Anyway, but yeah, you think about it, you're immunocompromised because your body's trying to heal from this trauma, and so a lot of times you hear people like they'll die from pneumonia, and their body won't be able to effectively. They'll get a respiratory infection or something like that. Their lungs start filling with fluid, now they can't breathe as well. Like your lungs just aren't functioning like they're supposed to.
Right.
Kind of like the coronavirus, what it's doing to people. Like when it limits your effectiveness to breathe and actually get oxygenated blood through your body, that's problematic because you kind of need that. So, God, it's so sticky.
Audible's not letting me buy Dark Disciple. It's only letting me add it to my wish list. Does that mean it's not available?
No, it should be. Maybe. Well, it used to be Audible used to be set up so that whenever you got something, you had to buy a book through.
Yeah, you had to do it through the website. You couldn't do it through the app.
Right.
But the last couple of books I've bought through the app.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Dark Disciple, it's not letting me. It's only letting me add it to my wish list.
Well, I would just go into it in your app. Or, go into it on the desktop. I'm sure it'll let it happen. Yeah, just let this happen.
All right. Are we almost ready to start?
Yeah, I got the notes up finally. We got the chat open.
All right. I don't have my watch on me because it's all sweaty because I just ran this morning or early afternoon. So I had to take it off and let it air dry.
Right.
Do the stopwatch on my phone like a chump.
Like a straight bitch.
Yeah. Don't. I sound far away. Fuck.
Right now
Hello?
you do. Is it working? You got the software up, right?
Yeah. All right. Is this any better?
I'll tell you what. That is one thing that would probably end up working a lot better with new mics is the pickup.
Yeah,
your vocal pickup.
Yep. So yes, please somebody give me another sound check. If I still sound far away, then I'll reseat the Canon plug
and make sure your microphone's actually turned on.
Yes. It's on. Anybody? We lose everybody in the chat?
It's the infections. Yeah. I already described all that. This fucking...
Oh, getting the thumbs up.
All right. Better. Well, she's in her car on Bluetooth.
Yeah. Well, and I was kind of over here like fucking with my phone, so I just have to make sure I control the volume of my voice.
There you go. So we got good mic checks.
Yep.
We got sound recording.
Yep.
So this bug is going to fucking die.
Yep. We're streaming. We're recording the audio. Got the notes up. We good.
Sweet.
All right. Your toast?
Yep.
30 seconds of silence starting now.
To Jason Engel.
I think it's John.
To John Engel.
John Engel. Oh, yeah. So, little backstory. Whenever I post a new episode of the podcast, I'm in probably 20-something Star Wars-related Facebook groups. And I just auto-joined them all, just to advertise the podcast. I don't really engage in many of the discussions.
Like you should.
Right. But whenever the new show goes live, I just basically copy and paste it into like 20-something Facebook groups. So I get this private message on Facebook from this guy, John Engel, who apparently runs one or two of the groups, and he's critiquing the podcast. So first message is, not really interested in the podcast. I'm listening to it now, and it's not drawing me in at all. It goes off topic too much. Talking about reviews in Google. And you know what? All valid, right? It's, hey, you know what? We're not for everybody.
Right.
Clearly. Between the language, the sidebars, everything else.
Right.
But then you done fucked up, Aaron, and you had to fucking get personal. And then he goes off and is like, why would I listen to a 2-hour podcast of two guys who try to sound cooler than they are, not spelling out the word A-R-E, just the letter R, or perhaps are trying too hard in general.
Right.
So, you could have just left it at that, you piece of shit.
Yep.
And everything would have been fine. I'm not saying that we're for everybody, but then you had to go and you had to take that little personal fucking jab.
Right.
So.
And then it goes after that, he says, sorry, dude, not accepting the podcast post. So in this particular group that I guess he's an admin in, you posted the podcast. He arbitrarily decides that, no, this isn't for this post, and I'm not accepting it. My group's Sith themed. Like, okay, dude.
Well, first of all, the Sith are not a bunch of little bitches, so
Yeah.
I don't know why you're in charge.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, really what it comes down to is there's some people that are just such... I don't get trying to sound cooler than they really are.
Yeah,
it's
like, this is who we are.
Is there any point where any of this is forced?
No.
And that's why we have an hour to 45 minutes of meaningless diatribe in the beginning of our fucking podcast, because this is all very natural. We're not trying to sound cool.
No.
Like, any coolness that we derive is from you, the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, we just like sitting here and bullshitting.
Yeah.
And we happen to put it out on our podcast, and people like it.
Yeah.
Except for this kid who probably can barely reach his own fucking dick around his fat fucking just ginormous Jabba the Hutt fucking like. This type of person that has a tan only because they're fucking in front of 4 different screens.
Right. And I mean, he's probably the kind of Sith that had to team up with 3 other Sith to take out his apprentice.
Yeah.
Which is why the Sith blood got so diluted and why the Sith weren't nearly as powerful. Yeah. And we are the Darth Bane of this relationship.
Yeah.
We came in and we fucking cleaned house.
It's Sith themed. Oh, okay. Sorry, our podcast about actual Star Wars things and not about what you think is cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So to John, fuck you.
Yeah, go fuck yourself. Honestly, a lot of people, I'll say most people, have this. Do you give them a little bit of power? Like, here's a little bit of power. Like, I'm going to make an admin to control what goes on in this post, right?
Right.
And then they'll do that. And they'll be like, oh, I can stop this from happening. Like, I am the keeper of the holocron.
Right.
I'm the one who controls the content on this. Fucking great. We, trying to be cooler than we really are, have a sidebar thing in Facebook that it basically has a life of its own. Mm-hmm. We don't really vet people that much at all, honestly.
And we've had very few troublemakers.
Yeah.
Like, only one that I can even think of.
And then out of those groups, all those people have their own thing going.
Yeah.
We've got people that are developing their own content, like our buddies in the Escape Pod, the Galactic Refugees. You've got people that are on YouTube, starting their own YouTube channels. When you talk about Keith Lehman, you've got the Used and Abused podcast, about music and things like that. You've got Big Swede with all his fucking shit that's going on. He was already established in a lot of this stuff, but he's part of our little group.
Yep.
And we just go. Just do what you're going to do, because that's what makes us in general, this fan base. It makes us, like, it's the diversity and it's the acceptance of these things, unless you're Kelly Marie Tran, because whatever. But
okay.
But aside from those particular groups of haters and shit like that, like, I don't, like, you go do your own thing. We're definitely, like, I could see where people, a guy like this, if, like, you were in his group and we're like, oh, hey, we're starting our own thing, he'd probably be the kind of person to be like, oh, no, you can't, if you're starting something else, you can't post about it in this group.
Right,
this group is for the Sith.
Yeah, he'd delete it and just be a
it's
little...
like, because, why would we shit on anybody else doing something that could be way more successful than when you're doing? That's fucking great. Mm-hmm. Good for you.
Yeah.
So, anyway, fuck that guy.
Yep. So that being said, hello everyone, and welcome back to All Things Star Wars, the greatest Star Wars podcast in the galaxy. I'm Mr. Jason Roscom. With me here each and every single week, the Darth Vader to my Palpatine, Dave Martin. Hello, Dave.
Hello, Jason.
How are you?
I am corona-free.
As am I. Very good.
Now that I've wiped down the desk, we can say that the desk is also now corona free.
Yeah, if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you get all of the exclusive pre-show banter, and most of it today consisted of Dave Lysol wiping and hand sanitizing pretty much his entire side of the table.
Yeah, and it was because of stickiness, had nothing to do with the actual sanitation from
so he says
the coronavirus. However, that being said, this is something like the coronavirus thing is definitely something to be taken seriously. We joke, we kid, do whatever. There is still a lot of people that are just like two middle fingers in the air towards any kind of direction that might tell them they have to do something.
The government can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, government, there's right? But there was a lot of cars on the road. Like I drove by the Acme coming over here, and there's a lot of people in the Acme. And you have to grocery shopping. Cool, I get it. Yeah. But the volume of cars that were on the road comparatively, like we drove all the way to State College and back, and you could tell that something was up. It's a Friday afternoon, and I wasn't in traffic in Philly. Right. It's like, oh wow, this is different.
Yeah, Kristen actually made a point of that. She had to go grocery shopping 2 days ago, and she's like, it was so eerie.
Yeah.
Even the grocery store was kind of empty. Like, not a lot of people in there.
As it should be. And maybe because it's the weekend and people are just trying to get out and then they're going to hunker down again. But we are right now in New Jersey. We are kind of at ground zero. I don't use that term lightly. Yeah. We're kind of ground zero for what's happening in the Northeast. The northern counties of New Jersey are getting slammed with its proximity to New York. They just busted some fucking dude. Some 50-year-old guy had a fucking corona party in his 550 square foot apartment.
Yeah.
He had 47 motherfuckers in there.
I heard about that.
Like, what the fuck, dude? Yeah. Like, not only you could be breathing normal air and you have to be within fucking inches of another human being in a small space with 50 people in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And you want to give both middle fingers to the man. And reality is you want to go back to having a normal life. You have to let this fucking thing ride itself out.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know it sucks. I know a lot of people are out of work right now.
Yeah.
We've got this alleged stimulus coming, but I don't know. Like, if this thing lasts for longer than a couple more weeks, then that's not going to be enough to.
No, it's not. And I think if you're, chat keeps disconnecting for some reason, but if you're, the stimulus, obviously anything is going to help.
Sure.
But I think at some point you have to just. You have to be prepared for this to go to the summer. I think if you're not preparing for this to go toward the summer, you're failing yourself. However that may be. Like, come up with ideas, come up with creative ways, do something. But you should not be sitting at home going like, you know what? Some guy said that around Easter I could be thinking about going back to work. I'm like, that's not. No, you need to be thinking about June at the earliest, probably later than that.
Yeah.
But you have to be planning. You should be sitting there planning on what this is going to look like come June.
So I mentioned like last week or the week before that my father is coming out to visit in May, like the end of May, beginning of June. Like, if shit's all closed down still, I don't know what the hell we're going to do for 2 weeks while he's here. Because, the plan was to go into Philly a couple times, go up to New York.
Yeah, there won't be anything open.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly. So, I don't know, dude. I don't know. But like I said, we're at a point now where things still need to get leveled off. We still need to, like, the fall after this is going to be fairly epic, and I think you need to be preparing for contingencies.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a snowstorm. This is not a snowstorm where eventually the snow's going to melt and things will then go back to normal, which is the way I think people were looking at it initially.
Yeah. And
that's not where we are.
Yeah, and we have the unfortunate location of being right across the bridge from Philly, where they're getting a lot of cases, and then just one state over from New York, where they're getting fucked right now.
Yep. So take this virus seriously. I don't know what's going on in the chat. We're going to let that.
Yeah, Dave's having some technical difficulties.
We're going to let that work itself out.
But the show must go on. Right. So, yeah, and we're not going to talk too much about the coronavirus this week. We talked about it quite a bit last week and the week before. So it's business as usual. And
Yep.
I'm sure we'll get a little bit more into some of the specifics as we get to our week. But moving on. So, a little bit of news. Little bit. Nothing cosmic, but did you ever play the episode 1 Racer back in the day, either for the N64 or for the computer when it came out?
I did not.
Okay, well, they are porting it over to the Nintendo Switch and the PS4. So,
I did see that.
Yeah, so it was a fun little game, and apparently they're doing some graphical upgrades and a couple other controller upgrades on this port. But yeah, I've been considering getting a Switch for a while now. I'm very interested in it. I know, like, with my Xbox, I don't play it that much. I don't know if I'd play the Switch anymore, but there are a lot of games on the Switch that I want to play. I want to play the new Zelda, the new Mario. There's a lot of games on it that seem really intriguing to me.
Right.
I've always been a big Nintendo fan, but I know the time thing is, up till now, has been a non-starter because I've never really had the kind of time to dedicate to it. But
Yeah.
fuck, now with everything else going on and the fact that I am still fortunate enough to be earning paychecks, I've been thinking more and more about getting a Switch.
Yeah, my daughter has one.
Yeah.
And she plays it. She's playing Animal Crossing right now.
Right, that's what everybody's talking about.
Yeah. I have zero desire to have one because the little bit of time I have for video games, unfortunately, I end up playing Xbox. So
Right.
Xbox still does it for me as far as that goes. And I have, I have my phone. So I would like to. I would love to have one just to, because I remember back in the day, I was one of the few people that had a PSP.
Oh, yeah.
Those things were way ahead of their time.
Yeah, I still got mine. It's in that bottom drawer over there.
There you go. Yeah, and I ended up selling mine, and I wish I didn't. But yeah, way ahead of its time. Yeah, I could something like that released today would do so much better. So much better than the Switch even, because think about the games that you were playing. I mean, the screen was this big compared to what Game Boy screens were at the time, and the graphics were better.
Yeah, full color, and you could do like full 3D polygonal games on it. And...
Do you have remember the TurboGrafx handheld?
Yeah, I never had one of those. I never had a TurboGrafx at all. Like all the video game systems I've owned over the years, never had a TurboGrafx. Never got a TG.
So a kid around the corner from me growing up, he had the TurboGrafx and he got the handheld.
Right, because the handheld it basically used the same games as the console, right?
It was the same games. It was it was like
a novel concept at the time.
Yeah,
we're talking like early '90s.
Yeah, so if you wanted to play fucking what was on TurboGrafx?
That Bonk's Adventure. That's the only game I remember.
Bonk's was on there, and then there's one that was like a fucking guy in a Jason mask who's running around fucking.
Oh, Splatterhouse.
Splatterhouse.
Yeah.
And it was the same graphics and everything else on the handheld. It was just it was a novel concept just ahead of its time.
We got the chat back?
Yep, I think so. Right. As soon as I got the other computer out, the chat came up. So awesome.
All right.
I don't know what we're missing.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like I missed anything.
Excellent.
I did not disinfect my TIE Fighter after Jason raped it last night.
Did you notice I was a little like...
Yeah, I did. I'm basically swimming in disinfectant right now over here, so I'm good.
All right, fair enough. So moving on from that, episode 1 Racer. I put up a poll over this last week because we talked about it last episode about which book should we do next, which audiobook.
Yep.
And I put up a few options. Dark Disciple was one we talked about. Master and Commander, aka Master and Apprentice. We've been talking about that forever. I also put on like the New Dawn book and your Equation Squadron. And Dark Disciple got the most votes by far. So that's going to have to be the next audiobook that we do, which thankfully it's another Mark Thompson joint. And I can't remember who the author was. Let me pull up my Audible real quick.
Oh, I brought it, didn't I? Yeah. It's Christy Golden.
Oh, shit. Okay, because she's written a lot of stuff. Now, I'm having issues with the Audible app actually buying the fucking thing. So hopefully I can still get it on Audible. If I can't, then we'll Audible and do something different next week.
We can. Or you could actually just take the book that's right there.
You mean I have to use my hands?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you'd have to use your hands for something other than beating your own dick.
Wow. All right. Dark Disciple wins the poll by far, so that's the thing we're going to do next. This Tuesday, March 31st, Rise of Skywalker, Blu-ray, UHD, the physical copies of Rise of Skywalker. I know a lot of people were waiting. I know Bronco Fett mentioned he was waiting. Luna Girl mentioned she was waiting. I was considering getting the digital, but I decided to wait also.
Yeah.
Now, with everything going on, options for actually acquiring it might be a little bit difficult because Amazon has pretty much halted or delayed shipments of non-essential home goods. So, things that aren't like fucking groceries and shit that people need during this time, they've kind of delayed because we bought a bunch of new equipment for the studio with our Patreon funds. And
Thank you to the Patreon supporters out there.
Yes, we do love you. That's going at the end. I know I'm fucking with the formula again.
Motherfucker.
So, but yeah, they said we're not going to get our shit until the end of April, possibly. So it's like, normally back in the day, before pre-coronavirus,
right,
it'd be like, all right, I'll order it, and Amazon, if you're lucky, you'd be like, all right, it'll be there tomorrow.
Well, and I think we discussed it last night on that little fireside chat that Big Swedes Excellent Adventure had hosted.
Yep.
You can go to his YouTube channel to see that feed in its entirety.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically an hour and 45 minutes of us watching Bronco Fett not be able to fucking hear what we're saying and hearing everything that he is saying.
Yeah.
But I think Amazon's whatever logarithm allows them to deliver certain things. Like I ordered something photography related and it came in 2 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like during all of this?
During all this. Like I ordered it yesterday. I got it today, actually. So I think it just really depends on what you're ordering. And they really want to drive, like for something that is digital content, they're probably trying to drive you to do that.
Oh, of course.
Based on the delivery.
Yeah.
But I think right now, if Amazon was smart and UPS was smart and they'd start looking at it and go like, okay, we need to think Christmas time numbers because the flow of goods is obviously higher. Now I don't know about UPS because the Prime stuff not much of it comes through UPS. Mostly you got Prime local here, especially because we've got a distribution center 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
So you're getting a little Amazon Prime truck that's fucking coming and dumping shit off. I mean, shit. My house is close enough to where that is that they could probably fly a drone to my house if they really wanted to. If it wasn't in the Philly airspace, they probably would.
Right.
But I think, if it's the solution that you had mentioned, or you ordered it through Best Buy and you're going to do the drive-through pickup, which most places are offering that.
Yeah. So, because Best Buy has the Steelbook exclusive, so that's the one that I wanted.
Right.
I know Luna Girl did the same thing. Now, she ordered shipping. I haven't heard of Best Buy curbing any of their shipping at all, so hopefully she still gets it on Tuesday.
I would imagine that would be the case. I mean, I can't imagine why it wouldn't.
Yeah, but if you didn't pre-order it or anything, and if you were planning on just going to a store and getting it on release day, your best bet is to go to like a Best Buy, select their curbside pickup, and do that. And I think, Walmart's still open.
Yeah.
So, you can still go to Walmart and probably get it. I don't know what their exclusives are. Are Targets open?
I think so. I think Targets are open in the same way as the kind of Walmart is, but Walmart, because it's a grocery store also, is staying open.
Which I wonder if the non-grocery store versions of Walmarts and Targets are open, or if they close those. Because Best Buy, I know they're only doing curbside pickup. Like, they're not letting people come in and congregate in the fucking store.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, there are options. So if you are planning on getting the physical copy of Rise of Skywalker this Tuesday, just be smart about it. And don't get corona while you're out there. Moving on, that's really all of the news. Do we want to just hop into our weeks?
Sure.
All right. So I'm fine with all of this. We've been talking about this a lot over the last month. I'm just an introvert naturally. It's just the way I am. So all of this fucking working from home, being home all the fucking time, not getting out except when I go for a run. I'm perfectly content with it. My family, however, I think they're all starting to lose their fucking minds. And I know Kristen's in the chat, and I'm sorry, hon, but you're in that group. Like, she's just getting really down with all of this stuff. The boys are getting super irritable. Ben was in a shitty mood since the moment he got up today. Rob's been real just fucking combative and everything, and I think everybody's just starting to get real just fucking antsy being cooped up like this.
Yeah.
So I could imagine, and we're a family of introverts. as it is.
Right.
So I couldn't imagine like a family of, say, extroverts, people that are used to always being out and fucking doing whatever extroverts do outside of the house, are going through right now.
I think no, I'll talk about it more in my week, I guess, but it's the challenge of being told that you can't do something. Like you don't realize, like even introverts, I don't think realize that how much they actually do interact with the outside world.
Right.
And when you don't have that interaction, then it starts to kind of, it starts starting to dwell on you. Never mind the stressors of what's actually happening. I mean, we can't discount the fact that this is a fucking pandemic. It is extremely serious. We try, like, we're going to sit here and try and entertain you guys so you can escape from all this bullshit for a moment, even though we keep bringing it up. But, I think in reality is that there's stress there. And sometimes that stress doesn't really manifest itself until, like, those situations when you don't have anything else to think about.
Yeah.
So make them fucking shovel shit or something.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't see Rob out there raking when you got here.
There was a pile. There was no Rob.
Oh.
I didn't know who was actually raking.
Yeah, I put him to work today. Well, actually, he was supposed to start yesterday, but it rained all fucking day.
Yeah.
Which didn't help the mood in the house at all.
Oh God, no. I would prefer it be gloomy, rainy. If I'm stuck inside anyway, I want it to be shitty.
Right.
Like during the work week, absolutely, fucking do whatever. On the fucking weekend though, when I'm not working and I want to go outside and do shit, that's when I need the fucking sun to be out.
Yeah.
I need some sunlight. I am very, very solar powered. Happy light notwithstanding.
Yep. So speaking of running, I actually hit my running goal this afternoon. So right before you came over and we started recording, I went for a 5.5 mile run this afternoon, and I surpassed my goal. So I made a goal starting March 13th. That was when I really started getting back into running. And I made a goal to run 30 miles before the end of March. Well, I've already surpassed that. So
nice.
Yes.
Very good.
Achievement unlocked.
Congratulations.
And I'm going for 50 miles in April. And I'm starting now. So
you are an insane person.
I am.
You can't start now. You can't preload these fucking miles.
I can do whatever I want. I made the rules of this fucking challenge, so
fucking bullshit, man. Like some people may be struggling to get to the fucking end in March, and then they're like,
well, what? So I should be punished for finishing early? No,
yeah,
fuck that.
Yeah,
No.
go run. You go run and maintain, and then start again in April.
Nope.
So there was a in swimming, right? When I was swimming competitively, you'd go and you'd be doing these drills, and there was a lot of fucking speed drills, trying to develop your sprint ability. And it was on the clock. So if let's say you swam 100 and it'd say, okay, you need to go again at the top, right? At the top of the clock. So you basically had a big clock with 60 seconds on it to swim.
Right.
So the faster you swam, the more rest you would have. If you missed that mark because you're slow, then you fucking have to go right away. Because you knew where you were supposed to be on the clock. I mean, the idea was to swim, hundreds sub-minute, which is difficult. And most of the time you're not doing it. Like, at least not from a standing start. Like, if you're coming off the block, swimming a sub-minute is relatively easy in a 25-yard pool. But when you're trying to do that in practice and you're just doing that over and over and over again, it gashes you out pretty quick.
Oh,
so
I would imagine, yeah.
That's when you like, all right, if it were me in your situation, I'd be like, all right, I finished my miles early. I'm going to go ahead and maintain for a couple days and heal. And then I'll fucking start again in April 1st. That's the way I would look at it.
Yeah, I can understand that. But again, this is my own personal just trying to kind of get back to form, because I was at a point a couple years ago where I was running like 8 miles in a shot.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I'm trying to kind of get close to that.
Hey, I know Big Swede. I think he's been in the chat. I know he's getting towards a running goal. He's trying to get ready for a marathon again.
Yeah.
Like he apparently, when he was still in, he was doing marathons and shit like that. So
speaking of which,
you fucking runners are idiots.
Yeah, I saw a picture. I think it was on Instagram. I don't know if it was him or his wife that posted it, but it was of him while he was in the military. I think it was when they got married. He's all clean shaven and shit. I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, he looks so fucking different. It's like, well, okay, you wouldn't recognize him. And people that he used to work with have ended up in the building, right, at the squadron, and like wouldn't recognize him. Wow. Because that's one of those, like, me, I look the same, right? Fat face, fucking with a beard on it, right? Like, he looks completely different.
Yeah.
So it's really funny.
So the last thing for me is just to go along with the whole fitness thing. I'm still lifting at home. Also, my home gym is problem. Dave just gave a weird look to the chat.
So Scott Rasmussen from the Used and Abused podcast, his wife Kim's been working from home on Wednesday. I've been listening to podcasts, music, and listening to music, and watching a live chicken cam from New Jersey. Is he referring to us? Are we the chickens?
I don't know. Like I tried to picture like an actual live show of just a chicken in a coop.
I guarantee you. I will put $100 down that there right now. There's live streaming a fucking chicken coop. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
This is what happens when we all get quarantined.
Yeah.
So anyway, home gym's been going well. On days that I don't run, I lift. Some days I actually do both. I'll lift and then I'll go run. So, again, while the rest of the world is getting fat, I'm getting fit. So,
there you go.
And that is my week. What about you?
My week consists of fucking work. Like, we talked about this before. Like, the best part about this for me and you, I think, is the lack of the drive.
Yes.
It's that 2 hours we gained back from not being in the car. The problem with last week was that extra 2 hours was spent working.
Ooh.
Like, we've actually, like, because we're trying, like, it was the first full week where we're still trying to execute certain things. So there was a lot of coordination pieces, a lot of back and forth, and requiring attention to be sitting basically at a computer for fucking 10 hours. It comes down to, like, between that and my schoolwork, I'm nonstop on the fucking computer.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is that this week, now that we did all that fucking work last week, that this week it'll be fucking easier, where I won't have to be like fucking every time I get a Slack message about something, I'm on a fucking computer, working between 3 different systems to try and do shit. And Nick can attest to that too. We've been in the same boat. So we're hoping that now that we have a process, that process will run a little bit easier without us having to be fucking staring at all these screens, which, by the way, I love having all those screens. Like, I'll complain about it. I'll make fun of other people that have it because I know I live it. Like, I now have 3 screens across and my laptop screen. So I have 4 screens, not including my work laptop and my fucking iPad. All of the screens. If there's some sort of cancer emanating out of these fucking LED things, I am just being
Dave has it
irradiating. So yeah, it's just been fucking work. It's been work nonstop. So I'm hoping, really, really hoping next week I can spend a little bit more time outside.
Weather's looking nice. I looked at the forecast, so.
We speak about introverts, and there is an aspect of not interacting with certain aspects of my life that I miss things, but I don't. You know what I mean? Like, there's like all the lodge stuff, right? That's interacting with all these people and having to be that guy, blah, 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 and do all those things. I'm kind of enjoying not having, I could put that guy in on a shelf for a little while and let that rest. So I like that. I like having my drive time back. If the weather's nice, I'd like to be able to go out and fucking, throw shit at the dog for, 2 hours and just enjoy being outside and get some shit done around the house. I expected more video game time. I expected to get shit done around the house. If last week is any measure of it, like, I'm not going to get anything. If anything, I'm working more than I would if I was at work. So I'm expecting to slow down, and I'm complaining about it, but I'm extremely grateful that I have the ability to still work and do those things. So it's tough to complain because I know not everybody's in that good a shape, but fuck.
So
God damn it.
You're in a unique position now because of, you're retired. You're not in a military capacity anymore. You're just a hired contractor to do one specific job.
Right.
So I'm sure you remember this, though. Being a senior NCO in a operational Air Force unit, a majority of your day is basically spent like putting out fires.
Yeah.
It's because that's the weird dynamic now doing teleworking, where all I'm really doing, like, I'm far more productive teleworking than I ever am in the office. being at work, because the challenge is you can't walk from your fucking office to like anywhere else in the building without 5 people being like, oh, hey, this thing's on fire. Can you go put this out? Or, hey, I need help with something.
Or you're prepping for the meeting before the meeting.
Oh, the fucking meetings. Ugh.
Yeah, it is a nonstop fucking, well, let's have a meeting, that way we're ready for this next meeting type bullshit.
And he's not even saying that in jest.
No.
That's what really happens.
Yeah.
You have meetings about meetings.
Uh-huh. Yep. It's horrifying.
Yeah.
It is absolutely horrifying.
Yeah.
And it's the most inefficient use of human beings. Like,
Right.
I'm in an operations management course right now for this semester, right? And we're getting into Gantt charts and all this other stuff. And I've had some organizational management shit before in school. And we're talking about like what the operations manager job is on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Like my description for a little paper I wrote was about Amazon. Like, if you're an operations manager for Amazon, like, your job is to make sure that you're not having meetings to set up meetings. Your job is to make the efficient use of everyone's time and what they're going to do to be productive.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you're going to lose money in the long run.
Yeah.
The Air Force doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
They were like, you know what? We've got 9 hours today where we can do a bunch of bullshit. So we're going to occupy 6.5 hours of that with getting ready for a fucking 45-minute meeting.
Yeah.
Or a meeting that should be 45 minutes that's going to last 2 hours. Sounds like a podcast I know of.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been weird because I've been like, as far as just actually getting real hands-on work done, I'm doing far more than I was doing being in the fucking office before this. So it's this really weird dynamic. I have to kind of learn how to work again and not just, be the fireman, so to speak.
And you get nervous too, because at some point it's like, man, I'm really good at doing this away from that. And you're gonna have to go back, and it starts to be like, man, I wish I could do this from home again.
Yeah, I think there's going to be an adjustment period if this goes on for a few more weeks, and we're still teleworking. There's going to be an adjustment period when we all get back. Like, first it's going to be like, hey, it's
hey,
like,
look, humans, hooray!
And then I think people are going to be so used to that other way of working. It's kind of like getting back from a TDY, right? Getting back from a long TDY, you're used to things the way they are, and then you get home with the family and everything. It's like, okay,
yeah, it's all about adjusting to the new normal. Oh, and just to let you know, Scott tagged us both on a Facebook link to Chicken Cam.
I will definitely pull that up.
Oh my god!
So
we need a reaction video to us fucking watching Chicken Cam, and somehow like do Star Wars related like voiceover work for said Chicken Cam.
Oh my god!
Hey, I know you're breaking the format because we didn't do Podbelly, we didn't do anything else. But we can still give people shit, right? There's 7 people watching us, and only 3 people have given us a like button.
That's a fucking
give us a like, man.
Shit.
Get in there, get in the like button.
And
whether you like it or not, just do it.
Since we're talking about it, like, have not gotten any new 5-star reviews. We've been begging for them at the beginning of the show the last couple of weeks. Still no 5-star fucking reviews on iTunes. So apparently you guys just don't give a shit. That's what it boils down to. So people don't give a fuck.
Find ways to give us ratings and share us. Yeah. Like, don't be bashful about it. Yeah. Just get out there. You're all sitting in front of your computers anyway. You might as well do something productive.
Yeah.
And fucking share, like, subscribe, fucking all that good shit. 3PO.
All right, so we ready to move on to our main topic today?
Yeah, ironically.
All right, so we're talking about the 2 newest episodes of the Clone Wars. So season 7 is going along, still getting a new episode every Friday. We did not talk about episode 5 last week because we had other things going on. So this week we're doing both episodes 5 and 6.
Right.
And we are starting with episode 5, titled Gone with a Trace.
Betrayal! Jedi Padawan Ahsoka Tano was wrongly accused of treason by the Jedi Council and hunted by the Grand Army of the Republic. Believing his apprentice was innocent, Anakin Skywalker discovered the true villain was Ahsoka's close friend, Barriss Offee. Unable to reconcile her relationship with the Jedi Order, Ahsoka decided to walk away from the only life she had ever known.
Yeah. And it starts off, Ahsoka's basically riding a motorcycle. Yeah. It's supposed to be like a little speeder, but it's made to look, sound, and feel like a fucking motorcycle, which makes sense.
Somehow it has a combustible engine because later on you see when they're trying to work on it, like it's got a muffler and like what? There's going to be this. I'm going to say it straight away. These 2 episodes, as I was watching them this morning, it was a mix of like how pleased I am aesthetically with what I'm looking at,
yes,
and disappointed in what I'm looking at.
And that was one of my big notes that was for the wrap up for both of these episodes. Visually, it looks fucking stunning.
Yeah.
Like both episodes, there were times where, God, the animation and just everything looked really, really good.
And they were pulling, like, so you get the Coruscant highway noises, you know, like the really annoying things that we got in episode 2 when they were riding around and doing a chase scene through Coruscant.
Sure.
But I think that it really was. It was that dichotomy of like having something that looks so good, yet the content, what you were like watching from a perspective of the show, not great.
Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say that this was episode 2 level of poor content. It's just, I don't know. Maybe, well, obviously we're not the target audience for this. I mean, I don't know, man. Like, is this, like, these hardcore Clone Wars fans, we have several of them as part of the Sidebar Cantina. Is this what you wanted? Like, is this satisfying that need that you guys had for this season 7? Because I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
Like, we're halfway through this fucking season and nothing has happened.
Yeah, I really think that they took the stuff they had already in the can, because they must have had this closing chapter of Clone Wars already scripted out. But the lead into the last episode you would think would be better than this. Like I see where you get an idea with these next 2 episodes. Okay, at least it's with Ahsoka, right? Because we basically said like, oh, if it's not with fucking Ahsoka, it's another clone based episode. Like, what the fuck?
And I mean, I guess because I didn't watch all of season 6, I guess she was not in season 6 at all.
Not that I didn't watch all of it.
Because
the 5 or 6 episodes that I watched of season 6, she was not in.
Okay, because the last time we saw her then was at the end of season 5 when she said "piss off" to the Jedi.
Yeah, and it alludes to that in the opening dialogue with unable to reconcile her relationship with the Jedi Order, Ahsoka decided to walk away from the only life she had ever known. Right? It was basically her walking away from the fucking Jedi, off the porch.
Yeah. But so getting into some of the specifics in this episode 5. Ahsoka crashes her motorcycle on level 1313 of the Coruscant underworld, which that's got a lot of known connections in the Star Wars universe. There was that game that was supposed to be titled 1313. Yeah. So we know a lot about these lower levels of Coruscant, which I actually really like the concept. Yeah. We got into a little bit of it in, I think it was the Thrawn trilogy when What's-Her-Face Price was kind of working in the underworld or living in the underworld. We've gotten little hints of it.
It started from the bottom, then they're up.
Yeah.
Type shit.
Yeah, she finally got a piece of the pie, moved on to the Upper East Side. But anyway, so she crashes on this fucking platform on 1313 where this fucking, lesbian chick, Trace, is sitting there and just waiting for her.
So speaking of that, because it just came up in the chat, not lesbians, just sisters. Do you think still... Look over your shoulder. Is that just a stink bug?
Yeah.
Dude, out of the corner of my eye, it looked like a fucking pterodactyl just flew past you. I'm like,
Like, your eyes got so big, I'm like, holy shit, what is he looking at? And what is right behind me?
Yeah, it's just a bug. It's just a bug.
Like, your eyes got really wide. I'm like, oh, God.
I'm like, can I kill it from here? I can't. Shit.
Anyway.
Yeah, so the lesbian issue. So you get this. Does Trace have the hots for Ahsoka? Is that why?
Oh yeah. Like right after she crashed, she's like, I ain't doing any of this shit for free. Basically, she's insinuating, if I'm gonna do some work for you, you're gonna give me that salad.
We'll scissor for repair.
Right.
Apparently. Yeah, and there was even a shot where like Ahsoka's working on something and she's looking down at her at one point and be like, "Oh, you know how you handle a spaceship or some shit like that." Yeah. And it was like, okay, all right, I get it. That being said, that's us kind of putting together these innuendos. There's nothing super overt about it. I mean, Ahsoka's still just being Ahsoka. If anything, Ahsoka had more scissoring tendencies with Barriss for sure than this broad,
or even the chick in the Ahsoka novel that we talked about.
Ago.
I can't remember her name.
Fuck, I can't
I
either.
don't care either.
God damn it.
So, but yeah, no, it's the haircuts with fucking Trace and her sister Rafa. Very, very butch.
But I don't get the lesbian vibe from Rafa.
No, she's just kind of a lowlife, is what she is. She's just sort of a fucking bum. She's that relative that's, always getting into trouble, fucking probably into drugs, doing all kinds of shit that you're
Come on, baby. Just trust me.
Yeah.
I'll get us out of this.
And you're like, oh, she'll be fine. She's going to get her act together eventually. And it's like, no.
Nope. Never happens. Never works out.
Yep.
Well, not never, but pretty much never.
Right. So we get a lot of BGP early on in this episode. Bitches get punched as that one gangster guy shows up and they like beat the shit out of Rafa. Right?
Yeah.
These two guys just fucking punching her right in the fucking face.
And I'm like, dude, just Ahsoka, like at some point I knew they had to do like a shot of just Ahsoka in the back of corners. Like, you said don't do anything, so I'm just going to watch you get your ass beat.
Yeah. And then
that's
eventually,
exactly what happened.
Yeah, and she actually does have Ahsoka help her, and Ahsoka ends it with kicking one of the guys in the balls. I'm like, God damn. So
I thought that stuff was good.
Yeah.
What I will say for these two episodes with the whole like seedy underworld type thing, I could appreciate what they were trying to do with that. I don't know where they went wrong in the execution, where it didn't kind of like really get me invested in it.
Yeah.
I think I'm not 100% sure, but the premise to me seems pretty solid. You got innocent fucking younger sister who's all she has is her older sister, tale as old as time bullshit. The older sister's, doing whatever, doing drugs and running spies and shit like that. And the younger sister's like, well, it's my older sister. I got to take care, we take care of each other type thing. And she's blind to the fact that, what she's doing is illegal.
Yeah. And, you kind of insinuated, like, these aren't bad episodes. Like, if you threw these into, say, season 1 and 2, as opposed to like the fucking Padme and C-3PO going on a diplomatic mission to Rhodia or something, I'd have been fine with these episodes. But the context of where these are coming from, these are like this is the final season, right? And these are just kind of one-off characters that are just like, they're insignificant in the overall story of what the fuck is about to happen. All of this shit is insignificant. Even fucking Echo coming back to life, right?
Yep.
Him and these fucking lesbian broads, none of it matters.
Especially with what's coming up. Yeah. We all know what's coming.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
There's no innocence here. Everyone knows what's coming, and that's what I think. We're not managing our expectations well, but at some point you got to have the expectation that this is fucking leading to fucking Order 66. Like, just the randomness of what's going on. We don't need to establish that the fucking Jedi are too occupied with the war to ignore the people in level 1313. Yeah, we get it. Like, you don't need to fucking establish this with this storyline.
Right. Like, again, that would have been great in previous seasons of the series.
And guess what? We also know from reading the Ahsoka novel and from Rebels that this is not where Ahsoka's story ends.
No.
This is, if you're going to start with how she gets to some other place, then knowing where it goes and having it start here, it just seems to me like it's foolhardy.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why do that? Why? You built this up. You showed us a trailer. You showed us darkness in this trailer. You showed us that, hey, the end is coming for the Jedi. Mm-hmm. Their time as the ruling class for thousands of generations is coming to an end.
Yeah.
And you're showing it with fucking Ahsoka crashing on a fucking platform with some fucking lesbian chick.
Yeah.
It's not there.
Yeah.
The poignancy of these episodes should be epic.
Yeah.
Like Mandalorian-esque. Like we should be hanging off the end of our seats waiting for the fucking next episode to come. And it's not. It's just not there.
Yeah. So for the rest of this episode 5, really there's this whole like these new models of binary load lifters,
All right.
droids that they have to fucking rebuild, and apparently they have like bad stuff going on, and
Right.
it's like all some seedy shit, and Ahsoka's opposed to it. And the sister's just like, come on, we need our money, man.
Yeah, come
You know?
on, I'm in trouble.
So they obviously one of the droids goes haywire. They have to chase it across the fucking the underworld. It's destroying fucking everything in its path.
Right.
I'm like, God damn. hopefully
Where
we don't
are
get
the fucking like? We know that there's cops in the fucking underworld. Like we've run into them before.
Yeah.
You know, the authority figures. Like, no, we're gonna tear ass for fucking, an hour or so, and no legal authorities or anything else. I mean, I guess it's just showing us the lawlessness that is the underbelly of Coruscant.
Which does make me think, from the transition of the Republic to the Empire, probably not much changes down there. Like, really, like the day-to-day lives of these people, probably the same.
I want to
one
say
the other.
I even remember words like that being said in some of the novelizations, where it's just like, whatever. I want to say I remember a quote coming that was the effect of, whatever's going on up there, meaning the top side of Coruscant, doesn't affect what goes on down here.
Yeah, and I would believe it too. So it's something interesting to think about. Ultimately, I put yawn as my final note for this episode.
Yeah, and we were talking about it last night in the briefly, because we were we pretty much I had said, look, I'm not watching it until just before the podcast. That way I'm it's fresh. And I did. I watched it just before I came over. But even Big Swede, who's a hardcore Clone Wars guy, for him it's very meh.
Yeah.
And then they spoke last night, like episode 5 was ho hum, episode 6 was better.
Yeah.
In contrast.
Yeah, and it does get better, which moving right along, we're moving right to episode 6, which was titled Deal No Deal.
Crossroads. After leaving the Jedi Order, Ahsoka Tano finds herself far away from a world she once knew. Here in the underworld of Coruscant, she meets Trace Martez, an aspiring pilot, and her older sister Rafa, a streetwise gambler with lofty aspirations. In their short time together, Ahsoka realizes not everyone sees the Jedi as heroes, a lesson she only recently learned herself.
This episode started off with a lot of bickering between the sister and Ahsoka and the older sister. And it's just like, ugh, God. Kill me. It got better, thank God. Because they got hired, or the fucking sister allegedly hired some pilots to go run some spice. The pilots fucking backed out or whatever. I don't remember why they ended up not doing it. But she needed the fucking sister to fly her ship, the Silver Angel.
Probably because Rafa is running a laundromat as her front business or whatever. That's what it reminded me of, is a fucking a laundromat, and she's like going through people's shit to steal it. So what's happening?
Your
Stop blinking.
computer is going fucking haywire.
I can't imagine why.
But yeah, they get basically wrapped into this whole smuggling operation, which she didn't tell them straight up what it was for. I think it was mostly initially medicine is what she told them they were going to be transporting.
So, raise your hand if you automatically knew that it was going to be spice.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah. And they go to fucking Kessel, which again, the visuals as they were pulling up to Kessel, spot on with what we saw in Solo.
Right.
So it was
with
really
Solo,
good.
It's a battle area in Battlefront 2. Kessel,
right.
Like it's the same coloring. You get those greens. You get that, like. I'll tell you what, we didn't really. I don't know if we talked about it when we did Solo, and it was so long ago. It feels like.
Yeah, well, it's a couple years ago.
Yeah, and I really haven't seen it since. But going to the Big Island in Hawaii and going to Mount Kilauea, where you actually have like the active lava flows, some of the like minerals and shit like that, and some of the bacteria that are coming out of the ground because of it's super heated. Is like that color. That's where they got the coloring for that in this mining world. It's like these bright greens and oranges like that. You can go and you see that when you're looking in active volcanoes. And that's, as soon as they're flying up to it, it's just like, ha, okay.
Yeah.
Like, again, what's great about let's say something positive about what this show or just Kessel in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's something that was a throwaway line, in the first movie, the Spice Mines of Kessel.
And then the ship that made the Kessel Run.
Right. So now you have these kind of throwaway lines like this place, and now this place is almost fully fleshed out to the point where we can go back and forth to it and know exactly what it is.
Yeah, because as soon as they pulled up to that maelstrom, you see the entrance with the fucking beacons and everything. You're like, oh, they're at Kessel. But before that, probably the best part to me of this whole episode, of these 2 episodes, was the fucking Trace. For some reason, she decides to pilot into the fucking military lane, right? She's like, I can go this way. Fuck them, Yeah. And Ahsoka's like, whoa.
She's never piloted anything ever.
Right.
Like, she's driven. That's like somebody who's driven a car before going to say, like, I can go fly a plane. Like, you are going to get yourself into so much fucking trouble.
Right.
Just because you can make cows get big, cows get small. That's not what flying is. Like, there's so much more to it. And that's basically what they did. They took this fucking kid and be like, okay, you've driven a car before, or you've driven a fucking speeder bike. Now you're flying a fucking jumbo jet.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. And obviously Anakin is on one of the fucking the Star Destroyers or cruisers or whatever they're called in this. And he senses Ahsoka. And we get this back and forth damn near identical to when Luke was trying to get onto Endor.
Yep.
In that thing that he had with Vader there, right? Because they were trying to get a fucking clearance code or like trying to get their license number, and then Anakin walks up and he's like, "Where's that ship going?"
It's an older code, sir, but I was about to allow them to land.
And it was so similar, and it had to be intentional. Because he sensed
Obviously.
Ahsoka, and he knew she was there, and he's like, "Nah, let him go." And I thought that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, Lauren like immediately is on the thing, and Ahsoka's like, "Fuck!"
Yeah,
like exactly the people that she doesn't want to run into, and which she probably could have said who she was very easily and gotten out of that, but she doesn't want to do that. Like she's left. She's walked away from the Jedi Order. Now she's thrust back into it by some fucking dipshit who doesn't know where the fuck she's going.
But yeah, then after that, they eventually get to Kessel. I wrote again, the animation is fucking stunning.
Yeah.
Then we meet this royal family, and that's when we get introduced to the whole spice thing. Some really awkward moments at the fucking banquet table with the sister, like, I got a fast ship. And then everybody's just looking at her like,
oh, God. I hate that cringy shit, man. I really do.
And then fucking after they leave, Ahsoka's like trying to preach the whole morality of not running spice, that it's probably going to be used for drugs. They could use it for medicine. It's just
running spice is bad.
And it's like all this bickering. And then fucking Dum Dum just decides to dump the fucking spice. So she's like, yeah, that'll solve the argument. It's like, no.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Yeah. And then they get into.
That's the best part where they're both like, fuck, that is the worst possible thing you could have done. Like what? Fuck you. Now you're going to steal my ship. Ooh.
Yeah. And then they get to the fucking place, wherever crime lord they were supposed to deliver it to. Ahsoka mind tricks them to try to like just get them to let them go. And then they get fucking captured anyway. And that's where the episode ended.
Yep.
So we know we're getting at least one more episode with fucking the adventures of Ahsoka and the lesbian sisters.
There's going to be at least 2. I'm looking at Wikipedia right now.
God.
The next one is called Dangerous Debt. And then after that is Together Again. So I don't know what that means. But yes, there's at least 2 more with Rafa and Trace.
So we're definitely not talking about Clone Wars next week then.
No.
If it's 2 more, then we can wait 2 fucking weeks.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah.
So behind the scenes, like since I have the Wikipedia up, behind the scenes, apparently the back when the episode's story arc featuring Ahsoka Tano and the Martez sisters was in development, 2012. Before it was canceled, Rafa and Trace didn't exist. Instead, Ahsoka would have met a young mechanic named Nix Okami, who filled the Martez sisters' role as the one who owed money to Pinto Sanali or Sanal or whatever. So, yeah. So not only, so they had this storyline back in 2012, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Like, oh no, you know what? We need to have 2 sisters. We're gonna have to go ahead and 2 people directly underneath you. Yeah, just not the wow. Where is the fucking wow factor? Like when we're the pieces that I get out of both these episodes, right? If we just kind of roll these into like one thing, like what does Dave get out of it? I got Ahsoka's willingness to use the Force to save whoever, like she has some sort of connection with in the moment. Right. So you have when during that droid fucking debacle and then knocking the shit over and she's getting ready to fall and then the fucking winch fails. And you're like waiting for Ahsoka to use the Force that entire time. Oh my god, excuse me. Holy shit. That's how yawn fest these fucking episodes were. So you have she uses the Force and you see that little Twi'lek kid sees her like kind of like, hey, I know that.
And you got to wonder if that's going to come back, like if that's foreshadowing to something later.
I think we're meant to be like, all right, Ahsoka is really waiting to the absolute last moment when it's critical to fucking use her Force ability to do that.
Right.
Because I don't know why she just fucking used the Force in her brain to flick the goddamn machine off right away.
Right. Well, and it's interesting too because post Order 66, like in the novel and everything else, she's specifically trying not to use the Force because she knows that'll signal her as a Force user, potentially a former Jedi, get her ass killed. Here, there is, that hasn't happened yet. So why is she so reluctant to use the Force still?
Well, I would say that the reason is because she's in this underworld where the Jedi aren't really seen as something that is
true. That's kind of what this whole story started.
Oh wow, with. You're one of the saviors. No, the Jedi are the people that are fucking ruining everything right now. So I can get that, and just trying to isolate herself in the Force a little bit, but it's a conversation piece to talk about. It wasn't really that earth shattering that she used the Force because she's a fucking, it says it in the fucking. In the opening, this is what all she's known her whole life. Excuse me. So it's valid to bring that up. And the bit with Anakin, knowing that, okay, boom, she's going off on, she's in this ship, and now she's going off like, okay, I know Ahsoka's on that ship. Right? He felt her.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, like, is Anakin coming to the rescue at some point? Like, is Anakin like, all right, do you show Anakin in that position so that when later on, like Ahsoka's trying to get out of this shit, maybe the Republic shows up when it otherwise wouldn't have?
Well, because we already know at some point that Anakin gives some clones to Ahsoka. Like, that was described in the book and somewhere else, too. But it has been referenced before. So we know that's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
But...
Big Sweet's bringing up, apparently there's some clickbaity articles about how the episode ruins Hen's Kessel Run. I don't know how.
No, they didn't even talk about the Kessel Run during.
No. And then there's another, apparently, article about how Ahsoka broke the Jedi rules by using a mind trick.
But she's not a Jedi. So, fuck them.
So, and I'm wondering, like, what was the plan... If that was the plan, she was going to Jedi mind trick this fucking, person.
Yeah. I don't think that was her initial plan until Dum Dum dumped the spice.
Right.
And then she's like, fuck. All right, well, I guess I can do this.
Yeah, and how believable is it that the representative of the Pikes, like, A, would get Jedi mind tricked. Because it's supposed to be on the weak-minded, right? Mm-hmm. B, that one of the lieutenants, ostensibly, would be like, yeah, I don't, we're going to make sure this stuff is okay.
Yeah.
That was very weird that you said that.
Mm-hmm.
And out of character, so I'm going to go ahead and do something else.
Yeah.
Like, if anything, gangsters don't really look favorably upon people that take their own initiative. So
that is true.
To me, that was a little, the whole sequence wasn't really believable.
Yeah.
I mean, and... my son Jeff, we were watching it at the same time, and he's watching it going like, why would you fly to the destination? Like, you lost all the fucking spice. Why would you fucking go directly there? Go somewhere else. Get your shit together. Get your story straight. Fucking fill the boxes with sand. I don't know. Fucking do something instead of just fucking blitzing right to the fucking place. And, oh, by the way, I cannot believe I almost didn't fucking bring this up. when they first take that fucking angel dust, whatever the fuck, it's angel dust.
Oh, the ship.
Yeah, what's it called?
Silver Angel.
Silver Angel, lame, and I don't know why Ahsoka made it a point to call it lame. Like, you would think that she'd be more sensitive to people's feelings.
Yeah, like, who gives a shit what it's called?
Be like, she might as well have told her haircut was ugly.
You know,
yeah. I mean, but, so I took a picture of this. So I'm watching the episode, and they take this untested pilot and puts this spacecraft into space, right? Goes and gains the hyperdrive. The thing's fucking shaking like a dog shit in razor blades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the comment is made, oh, I left the air brakes on. That could have been bad. They're in hyperspace.
Yeah. That motherfucker should have been ripped off a long time ago.
Keyword being... No. Keyword being space.
Oh, true.
Space. The vacuum of space.
Yeah,
the lack of fucking... I don't care. You could be going the speed of light. There's no friction.
True.
That's how a vacuum works. Like, I had to take a picture of the fucking thing. I heard it, looked at Jeff, stopped it, went back to be able to take the fucking picture. I'm like, oh, the air brakes are out in space. Like,
right.
It's Star Wars physics notwithstanding, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't use the word air brakes. You say space brakes.
Right.
Do say something. You could have come up with something else. Like, I expect Dave Filoni. I expect better of you.
Thrust reversers.
Something. Oh, there's a stabilizer was loose. You know, that should have been stowed when we got into space.
Right.
Something intelligent. Not the air brakes are fucking out. Like, oh yeah, speed brakes are fucking deployed. Okay, great. We're in space. Who gives a flying fuck? The International Space Station isn't known for its fucking aerodynamic ability. It's up there in fucking low Earth orbit because there's no resistance. You could fucking throw bricks around and they'll float around the goddamn Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I just... That kicked me square in the fucking nuts. That kicked me in the nuts harder than Ahsoka kicking the fucking gangster in the nuts. I was just like...
You are the big aviation guy.
Air brakes in space. Oh God, fucking yeah. Anyway, I had to get that off my chest because
understandable.
Fucking hell.
So that's really it though for these 2 episodes.
It was very.
They were just kind of there. Like they weren't bad episodes. Clearly not what we were expecting with this season.
It's the wow factor. It's the wow. We expected to be wowed.
Yeah.
We really did.
Yeah.
And the fact that we're 5 episodes in now and still no
6.
wow. 6 episodes in now.
Yeah.
Well, according to you, it would have been 7. I didn't even bring that up. Did you notice the little notes I made?
Oh, whoops.
Like, Jason put episodes 6 and 7, and so I added to notes or 5 and 6,
yeah,
but whatever.
I totally but see, they didn't know that.
They
so
didn't.
They never would have known.
But I noticed it, so I wanted to make sure it got at least put out there on the fucking ether that Jason made a mistake, because that's what I do. Anyway, at least Jason put together notes. Yeah, it's the wow, man. I'm not getting it. Mm-hmm. And I'll bet you that the last 3 episodes of this thing are going to be epic. They're going to be very, very good. But why bother with the rest of this?
Well, and
just to have it out there?
And
just
I guess
let's just say it was out there?
It was all the shit that they had storyboarded. Like you said, they already had like either some animation done or the stories, and they're like, what are we going to do? Not use the shit?
It was in 2012. I mean, over a period of 8 years, like... Whatever you have in the can is irrelevant at this point. I mean, it shouldn't have been a timing issue because they had plenty of time to put something together.
It was probably a money issue. It was like, fuck, we already spent all this time and money developing this shit, even though it was under different fucking management at the time. You know, they probably just decided to go cheap and like, just finish the animation on this, and then I don't have to worry about like new content for like 8 episodes.
Just crazy. Yeah. That at some point you don't dust off the storyboard and just fucking say, all right, let it go out. You know what? That needs more people. Let's add more people to it.
Yeah. So for next week, we've got
a pen on the floor.
The Rise of Skywalker, UHD, Blu-ray, all that good stuff coming out.
Right.
So if the Dark Disciple thing doesn't work out for whatever reason, I think we should look at a lot of the extras for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So
let's do it.
It'll be one of those 2. if I can get the Dark Disciple to download on my phone, then we'll do that, because I should have plenty of time to get through it. It's a little over 11 hours, it looks like. So I can definitely knock that out in a week.
Yeah.
Of teleworking. And,
I should actually bring the book back home with me, and maybe I'll push through that again.
Review
just to
it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably wouldn't be a bad
Let me grab
idea.
it now so I don't fucking forget. Because I will forget.
Yep. But, otherwise, sorry it was a bit of a shorter episode this week, but like I said, I've got shit I have to get taken care of this evening, so we had to kind of start early, end quicker. We'll talk about it next week. But you got anything else before we sign off?
I do not.
All right. Well, before we do sign off, I want to give a huge shout out to all of our patrons on Patreon. Tony Ferrari, Camille Donovan, Nick Jackson, Frederick Martin, Big Lovin, Scott Rasmussen, Tactical Swede, Don Solsky, Shotgun Mark, and Avery Morgan. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. You are the reason why we do this. And if you want to support the All Things Star Wars podcast, go to patreon.com/ATSW podcast. What else you got?
Podbelly. Go to podbelly.com for all your podcasting needs. And we got to figure out some kind of way that they can contact or review or something. We got to bring that up.
Oh yeah, I'll reach out to Brent and see if they've got like any plans in the works for
for something
on Podbelly.
Yeah, because you can go to podbelly.com and see the plethora of podcasts that are available there, and you can stream straight from their site. So if you don't have an iPhone and you're not iTunes enabled, you can but you want to get some cool podcasts, you can go stream it right from the podbelly.com website. Mm-hmm. Tell them that the All Things Star Wars podcast sent you.
Was that like a robot voice at the end there?
I don't know. I got a little stuck in here. I'll tell you, it's fucking the voice, man. I haven't. It's been weird. Like my vocal cords get really, really tired. And I'm not
was
even
it because you did Hank during the pre-show?
Perhaps they were already worn out before I even got here, which is fucking. Yeah. Usually it's after this. I usually have a day where I'm like, ugh. Yeah. My voice is exhausted.
Got to slowly drink a bunch of cold liquid, just let it kind of like soothe your throat a little bit.
Warm liquid is actually better.
Is it?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought? All right. Well, that's it for the show, though. Thank you, everybody, for joining us in the YouTube. Thank you, everybody who downloaded the audio version of the podcast. And until next week, Dave, may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you. Yeesh.
Oh, and fuck John Angle.
Yeah, fuck John Angle. Okay, now what do I click?
And that be that.
Right, I'm gonna pee real quick.
Yeah, I gotta piss really bad too. But I figured I'd press through since I knew it was gonna be a bit shorter. That's what she said. Whew. Episode 144. I don't know why I'm like an episode ahead every week. 144, not 1144. Raw. 144 raw. Yeah, everybody have a great week of teleworking and quarantining and everything else. Weird times we're living in right now, I tell you what. I hate to compare it to an event like 9/11, but at the same time, for kids like mine who were all born after 9/11, this is kind of that type of a big global event for their generation. And I kind of wonder if this is something that they're going to remember for the rest of their lives. Like, oh yeah, I remember the coronavirus times, you know? It's interesting. So,
you're right.
Again,
no fucking TV there.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I wonder if it'll be like a generation defining moment the way 9/11 was for us.
Yeah, that's crazy. The
Because I was saying my kids, they weren't born until after 9/11.
Yeah,
so
my kids were young. My son was 5.
And Kay would have been 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You said she was born in 99?
99. October 1st of 99. So she was just a smidge under 2.
Yeah.
So she doesn't really... She remembers the aftermath. Because, we lived on base. So,
yeah.
like, the the level of busy that we were post 9/11. But I think something like this is, as much as 9/11 had worldwide implications because of, their reaction to it. I think make sure you have a screenshot of that John Engel shit, by the way, just so we have it.
Solsky just posted a picture, or he sent it to me.
Nice.
Of the inside of the
Nice.
Sandcrawler Studios. Man, that's fucking impressive. How quickly they made that happen too.
Yeah.
Damn.
Well,
good shit.
They're motivated. I love it. I love every bit of it. We're definitely going to have to make a trip out there and visit those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where we can.
After all this Corona shit's done.
Obviously, we're not. Traveling between states right now is probably going to be frowned upon.
Yeah, like masturbating on an airplane.
Again, frowned upon, right? Yeah. This is like kids that are born this year. Like the kids that are going to be born after all this happens, all the Corona babies, right. I'm sure they're going to be called. Yeah. It's interesting to live it as we're living it live, and going through all this. And at this age, right, when 9/11 happened, and I was young and full of piss and vinegar, and I was ready to go fucking start punching people in the fucking face.
But we were already adults at that point.
We were already adults. We were already in the military, so we were in a position where we could affect some sort of change in that, and enact some level of revenge in our own special way. Mm-hmm. I think that because the effect, it's a global pandemic, so it's. The fallout from this is really going to be based on the economy. Yeah. The world economy the landscape of the world economy is going to be so different post this event. Mm-hmm. Like you can't look at what the market's doing right now and say that, okay, this is going to, what you would love to have is a leader that would go in there and say, like, we're going to come out of this and it's going to be our finest hour.
Right, yeah.
Which is, we're not going to get that out of this guy. Politics notwithstanding, but that's just not what you're going to hear, or you're not going to believe it.
Yeah.
But that's my concern. My concern is, like, what is this Pandora's box that's about to be opened? Like, once we come out of the quarantine situation, I think we need to be thinking about where we're vulnerable to at that point, even from a basic security standpoint.
And hopefully some of it's a wake-up call for people, like, hey, a lot of people were caught with the pants down during this, as far as, like, you look at what happened in the grocery stores.
Yeah.
Maybe people will be a little bit wiser about, let's just have a couple things stashed away. Not fucking crazy, not losing your goddamn minds with 15 cases of toilet paper, but hey, let's have, supplies, a little bit of cash, and all that set aside in case some bullshit like this happens again. Oh,
you know what I wanted to bring up for the show? Remember the credits when the sister went and she's like, "Oh, I got extra credits after I fucking sold the thing."
Yeah.
Did it remind you? Remember when you were a kid? This is a complete and total redirect. But remember when you were a kid and, like, sticks of gum were basically currency?
Oh,
like, you could fucking use a stick of fucking Wrigley's to, get something in return.
Oh, in fucking middle school, like, my friend Rob and I, we had our own little, like, gum selling ring going on. Oh, yeah, it was great.
We had a whole. It was blow pops. Insert your own fucking analogy here, but like blow pops, like people would, like, sell blow pops. Like, oh, you 10 cents, and you, like, would be walking around and the blow pop, and then you have the gum inside of it.
Yeah.
But it was like, that's what that reminded me of. It's like, hey, here's these credits. Mm-hmm. It looks like sticks of gum,
right?
And for our generation, like, a stick of gum, like, and I don't think I'm completely out of the. Oh my god, my ears ringing really bad. Jason's watching me have a stroke. Anyway,
and so are all of you who are still watching us.
I think kids today it's gum, right? It's like, it's that thing. Some people have it, some people don't. Like,
right.
Hey, you got a pencil here? I got a piece of gum. Yeah, something like that. I think it's still pretty prolific in schools and shit like that. So
probably.
Anyway, talks about something that's not coronavirus related.
Yep.
But yeah, this is interesting times, man. It really is.
Yeah. You want to hear a funny story?
Sure.
Completely unrelated to any of that we were just talking about.
Yeah.
This laptop, this is only, it's under 2 years old. like a year and a half old.
Right.
I bought it right before I went to Texas. It was part of my Mississippi, Texas school.
Right, because the Malawi laptop shit the bed, right?
It was just old, and I needed something a little bit more updated. But I was going through it last week, and I noticed the hard drive was almost full. Like, 250 gig hard drive was almost completely full. And I don't have, like, games and shit installed on. I have one game installed. But I'm like, where's all this space? And I looked in the folder, because I created an archive folder for all of the audio files that we've recorded, since we've been doing this in the studio, and I've been using this laptop as opposed to the Mac that we used to use.
Right.
It was like fucking 90 gigs worth of fucking music files and everything.
Holy shit.
Saved on this. I'm like, God. So yeah, I backed all those up to a hard drive. So I still have all of our raw audio files, but
perfect.
Just in case for whatever reason. But yeah, I just cleaned that stuff off a couple days ago.
Dude, Escape Pod, Don. So was this? You built a shed.
Yeah.
And then is this like the big shed that was behind the small shed that you guys built, or is this part of your house?
No, I think this was that separate shed that they had the one shed that they built together.
Right.
And then they looked like they were standing it up right next to where that other one was. So it's a whole nother separate building. It's got its own lighting, its own electricity, and it's fucking sweet, man.
Yeah.
I wish I had that kind of handyman ability.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Oh, I'm sure.
Especially, they're putting plywood walls up, thank God. And, for me, it's, if we're doing sheetrock, I hate doing fucking sheetrock. I'm not good at it. It's an art form. And that, like, I could put pretty much anything together and take anything apart. But the art that is, like, doing sheetrock and some other things, it escapes me.
Yeah, like all of that shit escapes me. I can mow a lawn. I can pull weeds. That's about the extent of the.
That's two things that are not. I was gonna say two things that are completely unrelated to being handy.
Yeah, but that's about the extent of how handy I am.
Hey, I just noticed this. Is that on purpose? The Star Killer is almost perfectly lined.
It's been like that for a couple weeks now.
Nice.
Yeah, and I don't think it was on purpose. I think that's just kind of the way the camera's adjusted. So, score.
Yeah. Right. Got my favorite thing. We still got we're sporting a coronavirus.
Yeah. Solsky. He.
You want this on?
Worked as a carpenter. Now you can kill it. Worked as a carpenter, a finished carpenter in high school.
Nice.
So yeah, and I wish I'd have done shit like that. I actually did take wood shop in middle school.
Yeah, but that was probably like working with lathes and doing shit like that. That was we could go on and on about trade schools and how, like, when I was going through middle school, like, so this was in New Jersey, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I went to middle school, we had a full up wood shop, sheet metal shop. You had wood shop, sheet metal shop. You still had like the sewing. What the hell they call it? Like the homemaker or home something. What am I searching for here?
Oh,
home ec. You had home ec.
Yeah, home economics.
Right. So it had all the home ec shit. Right. I had all that in middle school. Right. I went to a huge middle school.
It sounds like it.
And you had all this shit. Even in my wife's middle school, like, a couple towns over, like, they had some of this stuff too. And I know that because one of the guys in my neighborhood, actually, when they were getting rid of the machines for the wood shop, they're like, hey, who wants this shit? It's like, fuck yeah, I'll take that shit.
Really?
Dude, oh my God, the fucking, nipple hardening fucking what I could do with all that wood shop shit.
Nice.
But, so when I went to high school, I'd already done, some sheet metal work, did the wood shop thing. So I went and had a photography thing because they had we had a dark room.
Oh, nice. God damn, man.
Yeah, so they had a dark room.
I didn't have any of that shit in high school or middle school.
Yeah, high school we had the dark room. I did the photography bit because I grew up with a dark room and we have a dark room in our basement, like my parents' house growing up. Nice. So I kind of it was kind of an easy class, right? Especially because those idiots didn't really know how to take a picture.
Right.
So, and then I had mechanical drawing. Like, my focal area went to mechanical drawing.
Yeah.
So I had the ability, like, I still was able to take a shop class, but my focal area was mechanical drawing. And I did a full year Actually, it was about a year and a half because I did 4. Was it 4 full years or was it 4 semesters? I don't know, but I basically did. They had 4 periods of mechanical drawing. I did all 4 years, and a full year that was on the board because this was like CAD was just coming out.
Yeah.
So I did all board drawings on vellum. So I have that skill set that is invaluable because now I can look at plans. It helped me when I went into avionics because I was able to understand what a wiring diagram looks like.
Right.
But I say all those things because this country right now, we're hurting for trades. Again, coming back to the virus, you're going to have people, we're going to need more nurses that are going to realize like, fuck, we need more nurses. We need more infrastructure to handle something like this. And we've one thing that I've noticed as I've gotten older is that like you have more people that not going through full up medical school, but you're getting RNs, you're getting PAs. Like it's a viable career.
Yeah.
So you're getting that. And then you're having these urgent cares and things like that open up where PAs and RNs are actually like, that's your fucking primary.
Yeah.
And you're going to see a lot more of that. And I think you're going to see probably a lot more funding for hospital networks where you're not so dependent on the hospital network itself and its profit margin on how many beds you're going to have. I think you're going to have a concerted effort to be able to have a guaranteed number of beds in case of this, because the reality is that it's not predictable. And I don't think you can pull the fucking, the ejection seat on this quick enough to not get to a point where you're going to need tens of thousands of beds. It's just the reality of it. So you're going to see a lot of fucking infrastructure.
I'm about to burst. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, fucking mechanical drawing was the shit. And because I was going to be an aeronautical engineer, like that was what I was looking at when I was in high school. I applied and got accepted to Embry-Riddle to be an aeronautical engineer. I wasn't able to pay for it, honestly, because even back in 1993 when I got accepted to Embry-Riddle, like it was a $16,000 a year college, and you were paying for the name. Like Embry-Riddle is one of the premier aeronautical engineering schools. Purdue is one of those schools. So that's what I wanted to do, and it kind of fell through. And it's kind of been a motivator for me to like having the opportunity to still go to Embry-Riddle in my Air Force career as part of the Worldwide campus. It really gave me. It'll be nice when I finish this and I have the fucking suitable for framing. How you doing? That I'll know that this is where I wanted to go to school. I'm not getting an engineering degree. I mean, it's aeronautics, so it's a bachelor's of science in aeronautics, so it's a lot more broad of a characterization. And honestly, aeronautical engineering, as we get further along from the mid 90s, with the work that was being done on CAD and having to know all the formularies to be able to make fucking certain things and design certain structures, shit like that, it was way more. Riddle would have just been a name to my aeronautical engineering platform, but yeah. Anyway,
all right, we good?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think this is where we're going to end the stream. Thanks everybody for staying with us after the fact, and
stay safe, stay healthy.
Yes.
Wash your hands.
Don't get corona. Don't touch your face.
Yeah. God, I wish I could stop touching my face.
No, that's damn near impossible for me.
Yeah, especially with this. Keep touching my face.
So
as I do it again.
See you guys next week.
See you, kids. Peace.